Today's matchup: Bunny, Solar, Dark, ByuN.
I am lower. They're right. I don't know. My chair won't go up. They keep telling me I'm. Oh, now I can make it go down. We should just keep it like that. Hold on. Can I get it up more? All right. Anyways,
There we go.
in case you guys are wondering, I'm a solid 5 feet tall. All right. I'm a very short person apparently.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. We just saw Bunny up 2-1 right now, and he's going to move on, of course. And now it's going to be Dark versus ByuN. I've got my fingers crossed here for ByuN. I am worried that Dark is going to just tear through this group.
Yeah, Dark looked really scary there in the first GSL group in the round of 16.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried for ByuN here that he's going to ride his momentum and just, plow through this one on his way to his semifinals. But, I mean, so far, ByuN's been showing some pretty good games. I mean, if anyone's going to beat Dark here in this group, I feel like ByuN probably has the best shot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Look, ByuN had a great game versus Morrow. He looked really good versus Morrow. But I don't know if that translates into the matchup TVZ. I feel like one of the things that Dark is so good at is kind of absorbing blows. He's very good at getting beaten up and kind of waiting for his moment in the game. And then when it's his moment, suddenly it's like everything activates. All bets are off. And he's got the game. And, Dark, he has been in he's actually been a champion for the GSL 2 times. I think he's hungry to try to come through and get another one. I just don't know that ByuN can stand in his way. Now, that being said, if ByuN does win here, I am happy as a clam. I would love that.
Happy as a clam.
I would be delighted to see ByuN win here because that would be a crazy upset. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. We'll see if he's able to do it. What are these figures in the top left? Is that like, those aren't your Cow Talk characters?
No, I don't think so. One looks like the Shiba Inu dog or whatever.
Huh.
But look, I mean, ByuN, I think he's got a shot in this group. I think he's probably the least likely to move on. But I think if he wins, I think he's the least likely. But I think if he wins, it's not going to be by beating Dark. I think he's going to be a survivor maybe after everybody else is done. I think he could maybe take on Bunny. I think he could maybe do some creative plays versus Solar, something like that.
Yeah, I feel like if he loses here to Dark and it goes to a TBT versus Bunny, that's really anybody's game. I can see ByuN winning that one. And then ByuN and Bunny, too many.
There are some IDs that are dangerous
letters,
to cast at the same time. Yeah.
I'm feeling that for the first time here. I don't think I've ever played. I don't think I've ever casted a group with both Bunny and ByuN.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I was saying, I feel like Bunny and ByuN.
You'll eventually say ByuN a couple times.
Yeah, I feel like they would go about 50-50 if we do get that TBT.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm not sure. I mean, ByuN would have to beat Dark first, unless we're going to go to the elimination match, and I guess we're going to see, man. Dark is a tough opponent to go up against.
Grezvin is where we're going to do this for map number 1. This is a best of 3. Remember that the winner goes on versus Bunny in the winner's match as we wrap up the final group here in the round of 8, Group B.
DKZ Gaming, Dark.
So, ByuN was doing that double racks Reaper pressure with 3 Reapers here. Let's see if he does that this game.
Shopify Rebellion, ByuN.
It was funny, too, because he said that was like one of the first games that we casted here. I think it actually was Group A of the round of 16. And, yeah, here's the supply depot on the low ground, so we are going to be going for that again. But I remember in the interview, ByuN was like, yeah, you guys are going to be seeing a lot of Terran players doing this here in the GSL. It's the hot thing right now. It's very cool. And then, like, nobody else has done it. It's just been ByuN.
Yeah. What's also funny is he talked about it, and this is one of the things that I like about ByuN, but it makes me a little bit nervous for him, is like, I feel like if you're a really top tier player, you kind of hold your cards close. You know? And I don't know if I would have said as much as he said about that build here now. I mean, Dark is probably going to have something prepped specifically for this. So I think from a Zerk perspective, this could be a really cool game because we might just see exactly how to deal with this new opener that ByuN's pulled out and so far had a lot of success with.
Yeah, I wonder what Dark would do in response to this, because from what I saw in ByuN's games before, it didn't really seem like there were many opportunities to punish from the Zerg side of things. I mean, if anyone's going to find it, it's going to be Dark to
Right.
find how to punish this strategy, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw him not take any damage at all from the opening, and then it's ByuN basically playing behind because he went for an extra barracks, he went for a couple extra Reapers. His command center is going to be delayed. His economy is going to be worse.
Yeah, I guess, you know, it's a very ByuN opening, right? I get Reapers out fast and I get to fight with them. But anytime you go Reapers or anytime you really do anything in StarCraft, you're always sacrificing something else. And so if he gets the Reapers out and he doesn't really get any work done, well, though you could have been making Marines, my friend, or you could have made a command center a little bit earlier. So Sixlings are going to be ready, but the idea is that enough Reapers get here in time that they can basically start to kill those Lings and anything else off.
And a really smart play by Dark, hiding the drone at the third base. We'll be able to get that third hatchery down a lot earlier than you know, he has any right to do, frankly, here against a Reaper opening like this one.
So more Reapers are going to start to build up over here. He sees that the hatchery's down, so he realizes he got duped.
Yeah, a little bit.
But, you know, there's not as much that you can do against that. Now, it's a Marine coming out across the map.
Yeah, so just 3 Reapers here for ByuN. Factory now in production back at home. And looking at the minerals, I think ByuN might be going for a 4th command center here, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait, what? You mean a third?
Or third command center.
Okay.
Excuse me. Sometimes I just forget.
No, you're fine.
I'm a pro player. Remember this.
You're fine. I was like, wait a minute. That would be crazy.
The 5th command center is going down now, Taste.
And now here comes the 6th command center. And then Dark won the game.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be, at least I was thinking it might be 3CC. We'll see exactly what ByuN is going to do with this opening, as he is floating around 400 minerals right now. As the factory finishes up, probably will be swapping that in with some add-ons. I wouldn't be surprised to see some Hellions entering the fray here to join in with these Reapers at the front lines. And Starport also underway, so no, not going to be that really fast 3rd command center here for ByuN, at least not yet. Just instead opting to spend these resources on filling out that tech tree a little bit more and, you know, giving himself a few more options in terms of aggression.
But overall, Dark has really not had to bow to this build at all.
No?
I mean, he's basically brushed it off. And, you know, the Reapers, they don't get a lot of utility the further along. He is also, ByuN has pulled his Marines back away from his entrance. And so, you know, he obviously doesn't want to show how many Marines he has. He is getting stim, so we're going to have this, we're going to parlay this into a pretty normal-looking game. But, again, Dark is, you know, along with Rogue and Serral, I'd say the very best at just kind of getting way ahead. Raynor as well, but, you know, they sort of know exactly how to look at everything that's coming. Do the absolute minimum to hold it, drone up as much as they can, and get away with it, and then ultimately get into this undefeatable position.
Yeah, and Dark did a great job of doing that, especially against this 2x opening, because, I mean, this is 3 Reapers. It's a lot more pressure that we have coming out of Terran than we normally see. And, you know, Dark, his 3rd hatchery, it wasn't delayed at all. He maybe made a couple more Lings. I think perhaps 4 more Lings than he would have been happy to. But that's what, just 2 larvae? And on the other side of things, you know, Terran has a much later command center. They're delaying their tech a little bit by investing all this extra gas in the Reapers.
The tanks are later because of that.
So
everything's a little bit later.
Yeah, so ByuN's going to move out right now. Does have a Banshee. Isn't really keen on hiding this. So just wants to force some Spore Crawlers, get a bit of indirect damage. Might be able to pick up a couple of kills here, but the Queen count already at 7.
These could be one of those moments that looks misleading, like, wasn't it better to hide it? He doesn't really care. He wants to kill that Overlord, have that guaranteed pick, and then he's like, yeah, if I just force you to make spores, it's like it's kill drones. And then you can use this for scouting and other stuff later on.
And also the faster that the Zerg's going to build those Spore Crawlers, I mean, that's less mining time there for the Zerg anyway, right? I mean, realistically, if Dark didn't build these spores at all, he would also still just be fine against this one Banshee without Cloak with how healthy his Queen count is. So, yeah, smart play there by ByuN. This is just something that Dark's going to have to keep in the back of his mind, that there's this Banshee hovering across, you know, near his main base.
So this is going to be that moment where they pocket the tank and then try to come out on the map Oh, God, he doesn't even kill it. That sucks.
I don't think there's +1 ground weapons with this attack, too, if I'm not mistaken.
For
so,
Terran?
Yeah.
I don't think there is. No, because there's 2 eBays being made now. So what can he get done here? Now, the attack may be a little bit unusual. He's going to kill off all the queens.
That's a nice engagement, actually. Dark perhaps over-droning a little bit. Has to pull the drones in to try to break this position. That's so many drones going down.
What?
Queens as well? ByuN, you madman!
I guess the timing is weird enough, and I guess the build is unusual enough. I mean, he has enough sustain. He's just going to keep pushing through here. Am I wrong?
He doesn't lift until the very last moment, and the siege tank also survives. So 21 drones go down, a ton of roaches go down. There's no +1 infantry weapons, but it doesn't matter even against Roach Queen.
The Banshee comes in for more kills, can only find 1 more drone. He's like, oh, well.
The drones are already dead.
Yeah, I guess there really isn't anything here.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what went wrong there for Dark because, you're seeing that push move across the map. It's like, okay, yeah, this has the potential to get some damage done, but that was actually so much. I mean, Dark doesn't even have 1 queen per hatchery right now. He only has 2 queens in total going up on 4 bases, so this Banshee able to get some work in.
I wonder if a follow-up push can just end the game. I mean, when you lose that many queens and you don't have the injects, your whole macro engine is sort of out of whack.
Yeah, the injects are behind. He's still only on 2 queens. He's had to build 15 drones at the last minute, so that's all the larvae going into economy as opposed to military. Yeah, he's still droning right now. One thing that Dark will have in his favor is the upgrade advantage, because +1 Carapace is just now completing. And ByuN, as one of the trade-offs of making all these early units and going for that push, setting up that push, he'd allay the 2 eBays back at home. So there is an upgrade advantage here for Dark. But my question is it going to be enough? Because that was such a big victory there for ByuN. I mean, even now against a Roach Ravager army, he's ahead in army supply. And look at this, just moving forward with the bio. Ravager's not able to connect with the bios on any of these siege tanks. And I feel like ByuN is just going to slowly inch forward here. And I don't know if Dark's going to be able to stop it cost efficiently enough to be in a good position here in the mid game.
The other issue is that if Dark hangs on, I think he's going to be fine. I think the game will go on, but Dark is going to have to be a total master at recovery here. Now, there's not a lot of tanks coming here. He's leapfrogging 3 tanks right now. I think there's a 4th in the mail right now that's going to meet up with this. But if this is going to succeed, ByuN has to kill the hatchery, and that's easier said than done.
Infantry weapons and armor now completed for ByuN, so that upgrade advantage neutralized here for Dark. And ooh, nice Roach counterattack. Should be able to catch a siege tank and a couple of Marauders if he's lucky, but
yep, just like what we saw Solar do. Basically send enough roaches in there that you want to start to bank up what you've got, and then maybe you can try to intercept and flatten this small position Terran has. So ByuN backs up, he sieges onto the high ground, sieges up back at home as well. He's going to wait until he has enough that he can actually pinch these roaches in the middle. But as I'm saying that, I got to wonder, I mean, how much more can Dark muster here? He might be able to come and just pounce right on top of ByuN.
Yeah, Dark's sitting on only 63 drones, 3 more in production, so he's been sacrificing a lot of economy to try to get the military that he needs to weather the coming storm here, as ByuN is just continuously gearing up. These siege tanks are going to reposition, as it's been kind of a tough go of it here for ByuN. And actually is going to come all the way back home. I thought he might be pivoting to either the 4th base or to the other side of the 3rd base, but instead it's just going to be ByuN going for some drops, setting up that 3rd base back at home, sieging up defensively. And Dark, seeing this, he immediately starts teching. Pathogen glands now completed. We'll be pumping some infestors as well soon. And this might be the breathing room that Dark needs to kind of make up for lost ground that happened earlier in this game.
Yeah, ByuN started it, but he doesn't seem to be able to finish it, which is okay. You don't have to wipe the Zerg out there. But what I'm afraid of for him is that Dark is very good at getting back into the groove, getting back into the rhythm of things. And he's already beginning to push out. And one of the things I love about Dark is whenever he's on the defense, he knows exactly when to then take these units that don't have a lot of utility in a long, long game and start to throw them into the Terran and try to trade that out so that he can get the tech that he needs here. That was one issue we had with Solar, is he wasn't really able to get off of Roach Ravager for a long time.
And another thing that I want to note here for Dark is he only just now completed his 3rd queen, so there's not a lot of anti-air back at home. He's just been powering on Roaches and Ravagers and slowly teching up, as even the drone count is low here. But okay, Fungal coming in. Big Fungal there. Will sync up with the Biles. I feel like I just watched a Disruptor shot from Zerg.
Crazy. He is going to commit now into this main here. I'm not clear on how much he actually has. It is a lot of Marines and Marauders here. I'm not clear if the Zerg has enough. Clearly the Zerg does. He drives him out. The push continues onward as well, but not before these Biles are... Oh, my God.
Fungal's just absolutely massive here for
GG.
Dark, and that's going to be it. ByuN taps out, as twice today we have seen Terran players try to make the siege tank push happen here on this map and not really able to deliver anything. And you had to think that, you know, ByuN, after that push, killed so many drones, reset the queen count to 2. I thought the game was basically over. I thought there would be a follow-up push. Dark would have to over-drone, and then he would just bleed out. But
It's very cool to see that there were no queens.
yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, well, you have to remake those. And I think for a lot of people watching, they might think, well, you have to remake those, right? Well, I guess not. I guess it's better to just try to get the Infaster tech and get Ravagers out and kind of just actually fully shut down the push that way. Not try to hang on with queens shooting medevacs and that sort of trade out, that like little tug of war that we see there. Instead, he just sets up so that the Terran overextends. And I'm blown away by how good Dark is. But ByuN is onto something. That early aggro did seem to catch Dark off guard. Yeah, it was a very funny moment. He just seemed to kill so many queens. He killed so many drones.
It got a lot of damage done. I'm just worried here because as good as that push was, if we're not able to win on the back of that, what is the plan now here coming into Royal Blood, right? Because if from that position where it feels like you're in such a dominating shape as Terran, I mean, yes, you did delay your rebase. Yes, you did delay your third CC and your tech a little bit to make that happen. If you can't kill Dark, are you going to be able to kill him here on Royal Blood, or is Dark going to win map number 2 and head to the winner's match?
I mean, it feels like that, right? I mean, one big issue I've got here is that
Gaming,
when you look at Dark in general, he's very ever able stopped early on, and he's extremely good at basically swatting away every move you have.
ByuN.
And then he always knows how to get to that point where it's like, okay, now I close it out. Now I've got everything you need. Like, you can see that ByuN got the advantage and completely misread the situation. And frankly, you and I kind of misread it. We thought it was going to be more queens coming in. It's like, oh.
No, yeah,
not
Dark's...
at all. And here we go, same build.
Yeah, same build.
Assuming we have the second barracks mid.
Almost certainly going to be the same build here coming out of ByuN. But, yeah, it was an interesting decision because, you know, my instinct also tells me that in that position as Zerg, you need the queens, not only to spread the creep, but you want transfuses, you want them to be able to control medevac droughts that could potentially be coming in, and also for the injects. We were really worried about the injects, but you know, Dark is just like, okay, I'm going to stick with mostly Roach Ravager. If I'm playing very Ravager heavy, it's not Larva intensive. I'll be able to make drones and also produce these units that I need. And up until the very final moments of that game, after that first push, he was on just those 2 queens, which is just so... It feels wrong, but clearly it was right, because if he had perhaps invested those minerals into queens instead of units that are going to be more apt at defending that siege tank push, maybe it kills him. So Dark just, you know, just so smart, so good at knowing exactly what he needed to do in almost any possible situation that he can get thrown into.
Well, he's got this depth of understanding. Like, you don't normally get to see Dark get tripped up, so that was already exciting, right? Like, we were both looking at this, and it almost looked, by the way, like, Terran, maybe you have 2 more Marines in that fight, and you have just enough damage output that you kill everything off, and then run up there and start, you know, the snowballing effect happens. Luckily for Dark, that didn't happen. But what's crazy is to see Dark about to die, barely recover, and then under 5 minutes later, he's shut down everything that the Terran has. It just shows that he really understands exactly how the race operates.
All right, Reaper coming into the natural expansion now of Dark. Dark, yet again, able to throw down that third hatchery, this time on the right side. So Reaper won't be able to delay that, and nice control here coming out of Dark, too. And, oh, we'll lose 1 drone. I jinxed it a bit, but up until then, hadn't lost any lings. So... Queens being out will kind of get this under control, and that's a little bit of an awkward wall in there with the add-on, so we'll see if that comes into play later in this game.
Sometimes you can have moments where the Zerg can try to punish that.
Oh, 4 racks opening here for ByuN.
Okay, well, you know, I like the idea. He's basically like, oh, okay, so you held this off in game 1. Well, I'm going to make it look like it's game 1 here in game 2. and by the way, I'm not getting much damage in. But then I'm going to have a lot more, and maybe your third base is going to fall.
Yeah, Stim already being researched here, so this should hit. Should hit very quickly.
It should hit before Medivacs as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
ByuN's one of the last guys that I see from the Terran side of things. It's like, let's just try not making Medivacs. Let's just come out really early, and it's a little all-in-ish. I feel like I almost have to find a better word than an all-in, but it's like, if it works, it really works. If it doesn't, the Zerg shuts you down. When you don't have Medivacs and you're in a fight, you're going to lose. You don't trade, you die.
Right. I don't think all-in is the right word for it, but it does need to pay for itself. You need to get some damage done so that you can macro out of it.
Kill all the queens or kill the hatchery or something like that. He's getting combat shields as well.
Yeah, so this should link up for
5
a
Marines
nice
at a time.
timing. 5 Marines at a time is just insane at 4 minutes into the game here, especially off of this 2 racks opening.
Now
so.
remember that Overlord that we saw that was shot down by the Banshee in Game 1?
Mm-hmm.
The same Overlord's back.
He's
That's
back.
his twin brother. And he can spot, or she if it's a girl Overlord, can spot whatever moves out of this base. It's so that one of the issues is going to be like, Marines are slow, and this Overlord sees it. So...
Huh. Are we going to drop a scan?
What am I watching? Okay, I
They're
don't know
trying to
what
pick up the coins.
Yeah.
They need more
Gold! Why are we fighting? Let's get out of here. But the Zerg sees it. You know, they're not going to stim until they have to engage. They're just about ready to engage. Spine crawlers are coming down here.
Got 22 Lings in production. There's a lot of queens here. A good number of transfuse available in. And here we go. Stim pack coming in. All those Lings immediately get decimated. There's actually no Zergling speed here for Dark, so these slow Lings are having a hard time engaging, actually. And you know, interestingly, ByuN decided to go for that push before combat shields actually kicked in. Once he pulled back was when combat shields finished researching. So
I didn't even notice that. I'm glad you pointed out, which also, by the way, feels like it's probably pretty bad.
I wonder...
I guess he gets combat shields to just kind of add it in, but yeah, I feel like why would you not just wait for that?
Maybe he doesn't want Zerg to reach a critical mass of units, and so the first push is intended to go in there and just kind of reset the link count, potentially get 1 or 2 queens, and then you come in with the second force like this one here with the stem is, yet again, no speed here for the Lings as they just get instantly shredded, but there's a lot of roaches here to accompany the queens, and that's going to be ByuN having to retreat with really minimal damage being dealt here to Dark.
Yeah. Now, how does Dark play this? 1-1 starts oh so late, by the way. Now, this is what I was confused about. Why didn't he kill this Overlord off earlier with the barracks and then push? Because then you would come out on the map. You would at least have the element of surprise. I mean, we just got to watch the Marines like stop just so that Dark can count every single one of them. And then you see him making an arc with his queens. He started slow Lings, which aren't ideal, but you know, it's something. He starts a spine crawler. He's starting another spine crawler now. I think this rush has already failed, and I think this game actually is closer to being over than we realize, because he's given up a lot, and all the Zerg has had to trade out for is like maybe 2 drones for spines or something.
It does feel that way. Keep in mind, though, that Dark is playing a really low drone economy. He's only right now about to surpass ByuN in workers, going up to 57, but not too much of an advantage there. Just really wants to focus on, you know, solidifying his position, because I feel like if I put myself in Dark's shoes, you know, the first push came in, you were able to stop it. The follow-up push comes in with combat shields. You stop that as well in the tracks. You know that ByuN is probably sacrificing his engineering bay timings. He's going to have a really late starport. He's going to have a later third command center, because these are all of the things that you sacrifice to go for that 4x play. So as Dark, you don't really need to inch ahead an economy that much. As long as ByuN isn't able to find much more damage here in the coming minutes, it feels like this is just going to be a really solid position here for Dark. But I mean, this is one of the things that ByuN does best, is he's very good at taking these small groups of units, especially units that require a little bit of finesse to control well, and micromanage not only them, but other forces all across the map. So double medevac drop is going to come into the main base. There isn't a spore crawler here, but there are 3 queens to meet it.
Yeah, it's just not quite enough to actually prevent the drop. He is going to actually probably get this last shot on the medevac. No, good maneuvering here.
Yeah, really nice micro there by ByuN. Oh, does lose that medevac. One hit away of escaping there. I did like the effort, though, to try and zone out those queens. You can see one of those queens was trying to overextend to pick that one off, and instead it was the queen that actually fell. But
And Terran is going to be setting up for another push. Dark is starting to pedal ahead here. 1-1's going to finish for him, so he will have that upgrade lead.
the second factory now underway here for ByuN, so he's going to start to try to make up lost ground. Keep in mind, again, with his 4 racks opening, is not only his starport, but also his factory very late, so the siege tank count, a very dismal 3 here for ByuN as he's trying to solidify his position here at the third base. Would love to add some more mech units into this army.
So he's just making sure that he can crack this position open so that there can be counterattacks from a lot of different angles, so Terran can't bottleneck that off. Terran should be cautious here because Zerg is actually maxed out. And when you're a Zerg like Dark, you're very good at getting maxed out and getting rid of it so that you can go to the next better phase of unit composition. It's going to be happening as the Terran wants to push, and whenever I see moments like this, I'm like, well, one of you is wrong. You're not both supposed to be in the map, middle of the map, and have a fight. Like, somebody's supposed to actually be defending, somebody's supposed to be attacking right now. But I guess, oh, hold on, we're not, okay, we were missing that fight there, but right now, Dark can basically keep him at bay and evenly trade out, and probably even take another base shortly here.
Yeah, I think he's just going to be taking up instead. Infestation Pit now getting thrown down is, you know, ByuN, you can tell that he's really wants to make something happen, and instead he's going to be sieging up here at the third base. Dark does poke in to try to get some damage done. Some nice spreads of files coming down, but ByuN, his control is very good. I mean, just pure Ravager right now is a dangerous army composition to have, because if ByuN was able to get right on top of that with all of the bio, I mean, those Ravagers would just evaporate. But nice zoning there with the biles. And, you know, now army supplies starting to equalize a little bit. Keep in mind that Infestation Pit just now finished, so Pathogen Glands only about 25% of the way done. It's going to have to get further along before Dark is going to be able to add in some not disruptors, but some infestors. And so
those are his disruptors, though. When
they
he plays.
are really.
They just infestors that do disruptor shots. By the way, big counter over here. Both the tanks will go down, as will the Marines without medevacs there to heal them.
Yeah, and this is such a good play from Dark, because you know that he wants to buy time to get infestors out so that fungals are an option here on these bio armies, because if it's just pure Ravager or pure Roach Ravager here against Marine Marauder, it's very often difficult to take good engagements there as the Zerg. But once you start mixing in fungals and you're able to pair those up with biles, it becomes a much easier problem for Dark to solve. And that little counterattack at the natural expansion, although it didn't seem like it got too much done, it was just a small trade. What it really did was buy Dark time for these 4 infestors to pop out, which are now almost ready to hatch. And when they hatch, they're going to have energy for fungals. But hold that thought, Tasteless, in the main base right now. Big drop coming in.
Yeah, and I like, again, another good counterattack. It's like the right number of roaches, by the way. Now, ByuN is getting a little bit of work done here in the main, but I don't know that this is going to be enough. Again, this is a much closer and, frankly, more interesting game than Game 1. But, I mean, it's ByuN really having a hard time really getting anything, the game going more in his direction here. God, some of these bios have been really good. Oh,
okay, here we go. Fungals coming in. Biles coming down on top of the bio as well, and that's a lot of damage. This is the combo that he was looking for. Got one more fungal in the bag. Does Dark. And, yeah, that's... I mean, great stuff. These roaches, they're so good. I mean, this factory placement here for ByuN, I mean, although it's nice to have a shorter rally point, you know that he's kicking himself right now, because this has been a continuing problem here with these units, these reinforcements just getting intercepted time and time again. And he's trying to increase the siege tank count to provide a little bit more space to zone away units like the Ravagers, like the Infestors away from the bio ball, but he hasn't really been able to do it. Only 4 tanks on the field, and Dark feeling confident enough to actually push this position. There isn't a lot of army here for ByuN, so Dark going to be able to move really far forward here into the third base. And look at how low the HP is.
Yeah.
Only 3 medevacs. They're so out of energy.
Yeah, they're all drained. Also, he's good at like biling in places that kind of force you to run away. Like, he's basically creating force fields that are invisible almost, or if you stepped into them, you would take damage. Dark is maxed out again. He should be setting up probably for another attack in here. We haven't had much of a focus here on on 3 o'clock, but Terran just has that. It doesn't seem like he's going to go unimpeded there.
Oh, it's an orbital too, not a planetary.
Yeah. So, like, you could go in there and take that out, especially with the supplies you have.
All right, more upgrades now coming in for Dark as Seismic Spines. That's one of the cooler sounding upgrades.
I know.
Seismic Spines
What kind of
is
spines?
completed.
Seismic ones.
3 lurkers underway. There is one fungal burrowed here. Does get spotted out by ByuN. Man, they're so fast on creep.
Yeah.
Will skirt away. This Bio's falling down. Another drop does get intercepted here in that main base. That medevac's gonna fall as well. Oh, the Spore Crawler too. That's
Oh my
another
God.
medevac going down. And the Fungals here at the 4th.
You can almost see that ByuN doesn't really have an answer for this. He's like trying to just kind of
Oh,
force his way
no.
through this. I think we're going to see this game end shortly here. Especially with this base going down. Terran just trying to kind of force a win in. He's going to harpoon these tanks over here. Of course, that only pairs even better with the Fungals.
Yeah, the synergy of the army.
Vials, excuse me.
The synergy of the army that Dark is just assembling here is so fantastic. I mean,
Well, this is just how you beat what ByuN's trying to do.
yeah, just
You get the Ravagers, you get the Roaches, and eventually you get the Infestors, and you just
so good.
get those connections.
Really good stuff there from Dark, and he's going to be the second player moving to the winners match. He will face Bunny. As I'm not really surprised to see Dark advance here over ByuN. I think he absolutely is favored. He's just been playing out of his mind, but those were some really dominating games. I mean, especially looking back at game 1, where it just felt like Dark got caught with his pants down, where he lost an entire mineral line of drones.
Yeah.
His queen count got reset to 2, and he was still able to come out with a win,
He actually won more handedly in that game than this game,
which is crazy.
which is wild. But again, he has that understanding. Either way, though, that's the answer. If you're going to be trying to take on these pushes from ByuN, where they really just try to outmuscle you, do a conservative game, go to the Infestor tech, get the Fungal, and pair that with your Ravagers. You were already dealing with pressure early on. You might have been forced to go Roach Ravager early on. Well, now here's how you get into late game with a Roach Ravager.
Yeah, just the way that he was able to synergize the Infestors, the Ravagers, and also the Abducts there at the end. Amazing stuff.
Short break, guys. We'll be right back after that, the winners match.